Good afternoon, everyone. Name here is Dave, amateur call sign Kilo Whiskey Zero X-Ray, and welcome to the first episode of Ruck and Radio. Today we're going to be testing out the Spooltenna versus the JPC-12 antenna. Today I'm testing out to see if the juice is worth the squeeze. The JPC-12 takes a little bit longer to set up than the Spooltenna does. Today we're going to test out, is it worth putting in the extra effort to set up the JPC-12 every time, or can I slap up the JPC-12, which is designed for convenience, and get similar, if not better results? So without further ado, let's put these antennas up and get on the air. Let's walk you through the setup here real quick. We've got a 50 amp hour battery right here. We've got an ICOM 7300. Out the back, you'll notice we've got a 1-foot jumper with a ton of ferrites on it into a choke. That's got a 10-foot jumper, which also has a ton of ferrites, which comes right here into this switch. So on A, I have the JPC-12, and then on B, I have the Spooltenna. So that's how we'll be hopping back and forth between the two antennas today. Here we have the JPC-12 in all its glory, already tuned up, ready to go. And there is that radial plate I was telling you about. So we've got about 320 foot of counterpoise going off of the JPC-12. You'll see that Nomad with the Spooltenna running. And we've got the Spooltenna set up on an electric fence post picket, like so. And we call it a day. Once again, I am Kilo Whiskey Zero X-Ray, calling CQ Parks on the air, QRZ.
Whiskey Zero, Kilo Echo, Germany.
Oh, the perfect man to start it off. How are you, Mr. Kevin? You doing all right today?
Yeah, roger that. Hey, David, thanks for the flowers, my friend. That's good to hear. I appreciate that. Good to hear your voice. Nice 5-9 to start you out with. Moving into Mike November, QSL.
Hey, QSL. I've actually got two antennas set up today, so let me switch on over and I'll grab another signal report from you, if you will.
Roger, roger.
Hey, Roger, not a problem. This is Kilo Whiskey Zero X-Ray. How we coming in this time?
Hey, it's a little bit better, but both are doing really well. I've got 5-9 on both, QSL.
QSL. All right. Well, I appreciate you hunting me down. Glad to get you in the log. We'll say 73s for now. Catch you on the next one.
Take care, David. Thanks, brother. 73.
Hey, 73s for now. This is Kilo Whiskey Zero X-Ray, QRZ.
Whiskey 9, Whiskey Echo, India.
Whiskey 9, Whiskey Echo India. I've actually got two antennas set up, doing a little bit of testing and comparing. So how am I sounding on this one? And then I'll switch over.
Okay, you're 5757 into Indiana at this point in time. You go ahead and switch antennas if you like.
Roger. Whiskey 9, Whiskey Echo India. This is Kilo Whiskey Zero X-Ray on the second antenna.
Second antenna, this antenna here is better for me. You're 5'9" and bouncing a little above that. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks so much and happy Veterans Day. This is Kilo Whiskey Zero X-Ray, QRZ.
Kilo Uniform 4, Kilo Sierra, QSL.
All right, Kilo Uniform 4, Kilo Sierra. I've got you a nice strong 5'9", 59 here on the first antenna. I'll wait for the signal report and switch on over to the second.
Roger, you're 5'9" and Tango November 5'9", Tennessee.
This is Kilo Whiskey Zero X-Ray on the second antenna. How am I coming in now? Was that a 5.6, 5.6 QSL?
QSL, 5'6".
Roger. Yeah, you dropped down quite a bit on the second antenna for me. Well, I appreciate you hunting me down. Thanks so much for your patience. We'll say 73s for now and grab you on the next one.
73s, man. Have a great activation. KU4KF. Kilo Charlie 5, Romeo Foxtrot Uniform.
Romeo Foxtrot. Kilo Charlie 5, Romeo Foxtrot Uniform. I got you a 5'9", 59 on the first antenna.
QSL, you're 5 and 9 plus 10. Good signal into the Florida Panhandle, QSL.
QSL, give me just 1 second. I'll switch on over. And this is Kilo Whiskey Zero X-Ray on the second antenna.
Okay, Kilo Whiskey Zero X-Ray, KC5 RFU. Second antenna a little bit less, about a 5 and 7. Yeah, QSL, very good. Yeah, you came up, to the last transmission, your second antenna came up to a 5'9", so it could be a QSB on the band, but both antennas doing a great job for you. Thanks for the activation, and I hope to work you again on another one. Have a good one, 73s.
Hey, right back at you. Thanks so much, and 7-3s. This is Kilo Whiskey Zero X-Ray, QRZ.
Kilo Quebec 4, Tango Papa Delta.
Kilo Quebec 4 Tango Papa Delta. I've got you about a 5757 here on the first antenna. I'll wait for your park number and signal report, then I'll switch over to my second antenna if you'll have me.
Roger, Roger. I got you about a 55 right now at US-11376 Alpha Lima.
Copy the 55-11376. Stand by, switch into the second. And Kilo Quebec 4 Tango Papa Delta. This is the second antenna from Kilo Whiskey 0 X-ray.
Kilo Whiskey 0 X-ray. I got you about a 55. It looks like QSL in my part. US-11376 Alpha Lima.
Hey, QSL. Well, I do appreciate your patience. Thanks so much for letting me test some antennas. Have a great rest of your activation. Happy Veterans Day, and 73s for now.
73.
Kilo Foxtrot 0 Uniform Whiskey Echo.
Kilo Foxtrot 0 Uniform Whiskey Echo. This is Kilo Whiskey 0 X-ray out of Uncle Sam 3042, doing some antenna testing while we're out in the park today. On the first antenna here, I've got you about a 5757. QSL?
QSL, I got you 55 Nebraska.
Copy 55 Nebraska. Switching over to the second antenna. And Kilo Fox 0 Uniform Whiskey Echo. This is Kilo Whiskey 0 X-ray on the second antenna.
Again, about 5556.
Hey, Roger. Well, I do appreciate the patience. Thanks so much for bearing with me. I hope you have a blessed rest of your day. Happy Veterans Day, and 73s for now.
QSL 73.
And this is Kilo Whiskey 0 X-ray QRZ.
Kilo November 6, Mike Golf Zulu, Summit Depart.
Kilo November 6 Mike Golf Zulu. I've got you about a 5656 here in the park.
QSL 5656 to the park of Texas. I have you from a summit in Idaho. Whiskey 7 India, Charlie India 086, Pike Mountain, Idaho.
All right, I got Whiskey 7 India, Charlie India 086. QSL? Awesome. Give me half a second, switch over to the other antenna, and then I'll let you go. And this is Kilo Whiskey 0 X-ray on the second antenna. Second antenna, am I coming in any better or any worse on this one?
I understand. Thank you very much. I appreciate the trip.
Hey, Roger. 73s for now. And this is Kilo Whiskey 0 X-ray QRZ.
Alpha Foxtrot 1 Uniform Sierra.
Alpha Foxtrot 1 Uniform Sierra. Beautiful signal this evening. I've got you 5.9 plus about 10 on the first antenna.
QSL, Dave, QSL, you're a great signal here in Tennessee as well. You're a solid 5.9, maybe a little bit over. So thanks for the park and thanks for the contact, 73.
Hey, Roger, if you'll bear with me just a second, I've got a second antenna that I'd love to test with you and get a signal report off of.
Yeah, go for it.
And Alpha Fox 1 Uniform Sierra, this is Kilo Whiskey 0 X-ray on the second antenna.
You were bumping 10 over on that one.
And this is Kilo Whiskey 0 X-ray doing some antenna testing. QRZ.
Whiskey 1, Whiskey Charlie.
Whiskey 1, Whiskey Charlie. This is Kilo Whiskey 0 X-ray. I got you 5.959 plus about 5 here on the first antenna.
QSL, Dave, you got a lot of QRM, but you're about a 5.757 here in North Alabama.
QSL, give me just 1 second. I'll switch on over to the second.
Roger.
And this is Kilo Whiskey 0 X-ray on the second antenna.
QSL, on that one, you're a little bit louder. You're probably a 5.8 to a 5.9.
Kilo Charlie 1, Victor India.
Kilo Charlie 1, Victor India Oscar. Pleasure to have you back in the log, Mr. Michael. I've got you on the first antenna here. I got you a good strong 5.858 here in the park.
Thank you for the 5.8 in Massachusetts. Things are working well.
Hey, Roger, and if you'll have me, let me switch on over to the second antenna and grab a second signal report from you. Roger, 7.3s. This is Kilo Whiskey 0 X-ray QRZ.
November Echo.
Kilo 8 November Echo. I got you a beautiful 5.959 here on the first antenna.
Roger, Dave. Big 5.9, Western North Carolina. Thank you, buddy. 73.
Hey, Roger, if you indulge me, I got a second antenna I'd love to test with you.
Go ahead.
And this is Kilo Whiskey 0 X-ray on the second antenna.
Not much difference between the two, but the first one seems a little stronger.
Hey, Roger, I will note that down. Well, thanks so much. Pleasure to have you back in the log. We'll say 73s for now, and happy Veterans Day.
Same to you, brother. 7.3.
7.3s. The Stroke Alpha Golf Station.
Kilo Quebec 4, Golf Tango Hotel.
Golf Tango Hotel. Kilo Quebec 4, Golf Tango Hotel. I got you a good strong 5757 on the second antenna.
Roger, I got you a 59 in Tennessee, over.
Roger, Roger, switching over to the first antenna. And this is Kilo Whiskey 0 X-ray on the first antenna,
Roger, this is Kilo Quebec 4, Golf Tango Hotel. I've got you 59 in Tennessee.
Copy the 59 Tennessee. Thanks so much. Happy Veterans Day and 7-3s for now.
7-3, thank you.
And this is Kilo Whiskey 0 X-ray running two antennas, QRZ.
Kilo Echo 4, Yankee Zulu Tango Stroke AE.
All right, Kilo Echo 4, Yankee Zulu Tango Stroke AE. Congratulations. This is Kilo Whiskey 0 X-ray on the first antenna. I've got you a good strong 5959 here in the park.
Okay, you're 10 over right now. Did you want to try your other antenna and I'll give you a signal report?
Roger, Roger, switching over right now. And this is Kilo Whiskey 0 X-ray on the second antenna,
Okay, you're 10 over on that one also.
This is Kilo Whiskey 0 X-ray, QRZ.
November Alpha Charlie 9, Golf Oscar.
The Golf Oscar station, Golf Oscar.
Alpha Charlie 9, Golf Oscar. And I'm in northern Illinois. Let's see. Go ahead. I want to hear what your two antennas sound like.
Hey, Roger, Roger. So this is the first antenna. It's a JPC-12. I've got you about 5'9 plus 20 here in the park.
5'9 on that one.
Roger, Roger. Switching over. And this is Kilo Whiskey 0 X-ray on the second antenna,
And that's about a 5'6.
Hey, Roger, Roger. Well, I do appreciate your patience and everyone else that is sitting in the pileup waiting. Thanks so much. Happy Veterans Day and 73s for now. This is Kilo Whiskey 0 X-ray calling CQ Parks on the air, QRZ.
Alpha Foxtrot 4, Oscar.
Alpha Foxtrot 4 Oscar. Beautiful signal this evening. I got you about a 5'7" here on the first antenna, and I've got two if you'll indulge me and grab two signal reports off you.
All right, thanks for the 5'7" there. And so are you working two antennas over?
QSL, yeah. So this is the first antenna. It's a vertical antenna, the JPC-12, and then whenever I get the first signal report, I'll swap on over to the second.
Okay, the band came down a little bit on you there, but I still got you though. So good luck with that and your activation there. I got you about a 5'5", double nickels here in Fox Lima. Over.
Roger, Roger. Copy the double nickels. Switching over. And this is Kilo Whiskey 0 X-ray on the second antenna,
Yeah, I heard you say over. I thought you said switching over, but that last comeback, you were much higher, about a 5'7", 5'8" here. Over.
This is Kilo Whiskey 0 X-ray in the park doing some antenna testing, QRZ.
Yeah, November Whiskey 4, Tango Foxtrot. Yeah, you're booming in here in Georgia. You're 5'9 plus, so you can't get past these people sometimes.
Oh, yeah, Roger, Roger. Well, if you'll indulge me, I do have a second antenna set up, doing a little bit of comparison. If I can grab a second signal report off you in just 1 second. And this is Kilo Whiskey 0 X-ray returning on the second antenna. Any difference?
No difference, but I'm on a beam. That probably helps it.
The November 4 again?
November 4, November Bravo.
All right, November 4, November Bravo. I got you about a 5'3" here on this first antenna.
You were telling that, and you're 5'8", 58, Central Florida.
Copy the 5'8" Central Florida. Give me just a second. Switching over. And this is Kilo Whiskey 0 X-ray on the second antenna,
You were telling that, and 10 foot from Central Florida.
All right, so the POTA activation is complete. Now we're going to talk about both of the antennas and rate them under 7 different categories. We're going to talk about emplacement and how easy or difficult it is to emplace, the bandwidth and how easy it is to switch between bands, signal consistency between each of the two antennas, the noise level on both of the antennas, the overall footprint that the antenna takes up, how both antennas respond to wind, and then the overall cost of both antenna setups. Without further ado, we'll begin talking about emplacement. JPC-12 I can put up in about 5 minutes. It comes inside of the case in about 7 different parts that you screw together. On top of having to put everything together, there's also the 320 foot of radials that I have to lay out every single time I want to emplace the JPC-12. If you compare that to the Spooltenna goes up in about 2 minutes. I clip it onto the top of the mast, extend the mast all the way out, lean it into a tree, and then I clip it to that electric fence post and I'm completely emplaced. I don't have to worry about running any radials because it uses the coax as the radial or the ground plane for that antenna. Moving on to bandwidth. When it comes to emplacing and tuning the JPC-12, every single time I emplace it, I have to hook it up to some sort of antenna analyzer. I currently have a Nano VNA, and if you've ever had to use a Nano VNA, they're not hard to use, but they're definitely not the easiest thing to use. So when I emplace the JPC-12, I hook it up to the Nano VNA, and then you manually tune the whip on top and the coil to whichever band you're going to. Thankfully, I've emplaced it enough on 20 meters and 40 meters that I know roughly where the whip and the coil should be placed every time, but it does take a little bit of dialing in each time you emplace it. That's also affected by the soil content that you're on, so every time I go to a new park, I'll have to tweak it based on the soil in that park. If we compare that to the Spooltenna tuning's already done. It came pre-tuned when I bought it, and if you buy one, it will also come pre-tuned. They do all of the cutting, trimming, folding that you have to do on the infed to ensure that it will hit 40, 20, 15, and 10 for you. And that takes us into switching bands. Anytime you want to switch bands on the JPC-12, you're going to have to manually move the whip on top, manually move the coil. Sometimes you may even have to remove the coil and just go to the 4 bars and the whip on top. There's just a lot that goes into switching bands on the JPC-12. It's not near as involved on the Spooltenna. The Spooltenna, I just switch to the bands that I want. Now, talking about switching bands, the JPC-12 gives me a few more band options that the Spooltenna does not. So as previously mentioned, the Spooltenna only gives me 40, 20, 15, and 10. I get 4 bands and that is it. If I want to go anywhere outside of those bands, I would have to carry a tuner with me, and I currently do not carry a tuner during POTA activations. Now, I do have the 7300, which has an internal tuner, and to be frank, I have not tried tuning with the 7300 on 17 or 12 or 30 meters. It may be possible using the internal tuner on the 7300 to get those external bands, but for all intents and purposes, we're just going to count the Spooltenna as a 4-band antenna. If you compare that to the JPC-12, JPC-12 will get me all the way from 40 meters all the way down to 2 meters if I really wanted it. It just takes a little bit of tuning, hooking it back up to the Nano VNA and fine-tuning where exactly in that band you want to be. The JPC-12 does have enough bandwidth that I will get the entire band on each of the bands that I want to operate, excluding 10 meters. 10 meters is just so big, I won't get the full band on either antenna. On the JPC-12, I get about a 500K spread, which is pretty similar to the Spooltenna. Spooltenna I normally can tune anywhere from 28 all the way up to 28.7 is right about that 1.5 or below range, which is where I like to operate. Moving on to the noise level. The JPC-12 has a pretty decent noise level. It doesn't pick up a whole lot, but it does have a little bit higher of a noise level than the Spooltenna does. In-fed half waves are known for being relatively quiet antennas, and I definitely see that reflect. It's normally right around half of an S-unit difference between the JPC-12 and the Spooltenna, so the Spooltenna will take it on the noise level aspect. Now let's talk about the footprint of both of the antennas. JPC-12 takes up 40.5 foot roughly diameter circle of area. Because I run 320 foot of counterpoise, it takes up a decent area. So that's 8 separate radials that each have 2 wires that are all 20 foot long. That takes up a large area. Depending on where you're going, you may not be able to spread out that much. Now you can reduce that footprint by shortening your radials, but I do highly recommend having 8 radials minimum at least 20 foot. If we compare that to the Spooltenna both takes up more room and less room at the same time. Because of the Spooltenna, I set it up in a sloper configuration. Realistically, on the ground, there's only 2 points that it touches. You've got one where the mast is leaning up against a tree and one where the feed point is clipped onto that electric fence post. So realistically, on the ground, you're not taking up a whole lot of room. However, the antenna does run in between those 2 points. So you've got to make sure you've got a right about 50 foot long clear area up to about 20 foot in the air. That way the antenna can run in between those 2 points seamlessly without getting caught or snagged on anything. I feel like this one's kind of a toss-up. It really depends on what area you're in. I think you may be able to find more spots that the Spooltenna can go up, but I also don't have a ground spike, so I am dependent on having some sort of tree or shrubbery or something that I can lean my mast up that will hold it in place in order to emplace my Spooltenna. So depending on where I plan on activating, that could be a toss-up on whether the JPC-12 or the Spooltenna is preferred. Now let's talk about wind. Here in Texas, it can get pretty dang windy. So depending on the season, we might see gusts of 50 to 60 mile an hour almost on the daily. And I also visit family in Kansas pretty often, and they see very similar wind. So wind is definitely something I have to take into consideration when I'm planning to go do a POTA activation. Both of these antennas do hold up pretty well in the wind. I haven't had to set up either of them in super crazy windy conditions. I normally avoid going out if it's too crazy windy, but I don't really foresee either of these antennas causing too much problem. Because the JPC-12 is the center-loaded vertical antenna, when I'm operating on 20, I don't have to have a full 17 foot up in the air. It's probably closer to like the 12 or so mark, but the ground spike thankfully holds it pretty sturdy. Same thing with the Spooltenna. I don't have a ground spike. I don't really have to worry about holding it in the ground, but there's plenty of trees in all of the state parks that I've been to that I can lean the mast up and into, and it'll hold it the exact way I need it to hold. There's always enough grip. I always set it up to where I lean the mast kind of on the side of the tree to where the mast is kind of tucked behind some of the branches like this, and then run the antenna away from the branch that's holding the mast in. That way it's constantly pressing up against that branch, and that's what's holding it in the tree. I don't really ever see wind being an issue. If it's that windy, I'm probably not going out to the park because I don't trust either of the antennas to be set up in that crazy wind. But for the average winds that we get here in Texas, neither of the antennas will be an issue. Second to last thing we'll talk about is cost. Both of these antennas realistically cost about the same. The JPC-12 by itself is about $135, and then the radial plate that I use is an additional 15 or 20. So grand total right around the 150 mark, and the Spooltenna is also right around 150. So this is kind of tit for tat, same price range that we're looking here for both of these antennas. And the big topic of the day is going to be signal consistency. JPC-12 by far has the most consistent signal reports that you will receive on the two antennas that we're comparing today. There's no single spot where there's a null. There's no single spot where you've got a big gain peak where you're going to be coming in well over what you would be on like the Spooltenna. Whereas the Spooltenna definitely has a different radiation pattern, and it is omnidirectional, but there's gain in certain parts and there's nulls in certain parts. So when you're setting up an in-fed half wave in a sloper configuration, at the low point where the feed point is, sloping towards the high end of the antenna, it almost looks kind of like a beanbag, where the beanbag is sitting at the top portion of the antenna. And right at the front of that antenna, it forms a lull. So directly off of the front of your antenna, you have a null where the signal is not going to be very great. On the opposite, so if you kind of come around to the side, right about the 155 mark, we'll just say kind of east-west if you're looking at the tip of the antenna being north, the east-west, there's a lobe on either side where you will have a portion of gain. And we saw that a couple times throughout the video, where when I switched over, I went from 5.9 on the JPC-12, and then I came in 5.9 plus about 10 or 15 on the in-fed half wave, because the people that I was talking to, I was inside those lulls of the in-fed half wave. Same thing in that knoll in the front. There was a couple times where the JPC-12, I was a 5.9, and then I switched over to the in-fed half wave, the Spooltenna, and I went down to about a 5.6 because they were in that lull of the antenna. So at the end of the day, I've come down to this conclusion. If I'm going to do a POTA activation and I plan on sitting out in the park for a long while and I've got plenty of area, no real interference with anyone else that will be using the park, and I just plan on banging out a ton of contacts, I will absolutely, no questions asked, be setting up the JPC-12. The signal consistency and the relative ease of setup isn't too bad. I can take the additional few minutes that it takes to set up the JPC-12, tune it in, and just have an absolute time. The signal consistency is perfect all the way around. It is a true omnidirectional antenna. So if I'm going to sit down, have a nice long activation, and just bang out as many contacts as possible where I don't plan on hopping bands a lot, I'll be setting up the JPC-12. Whereas if I'm going out to a park, I don't plan on spending a whole lot of time there. I just want to get a park activated and then move on, kind of like if I'm doing a POTA rove or I don't have a whole lot of time, I'll be setting up the Spooltenna. It goes up easy, it works when I need it to, and my signal reports may be just a little bit less if I'm not kind of east-west to that antenna, but I'll still be getting out and I'll still be able to make contacts. At the end of the day, both of these antennas are fantastic. Whichever one you decide to buy, I think you'll be happy with. For me, I'll be taking the JPC-12. If you like what I have to say, please like, comment, share. Let me know down in the comments which antenna you'll be picking up. We'll see you next time.